before. Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. My name is Leonard Brackett. I will be your temporary chairman for tonight's program, which is Monday. Our chairman is not available yet. I made some changes to the starting time in the interest of the, the change of time here in the United States. We have like an hour difference than we had before. So we go forward 1 hour, which means that as regards to the time in Belize, we will not be using 8 o'clock Belize time anymore, at least for the near future, until time changes back again. What we contemplate doing or hope to do is to start our shows a little earlier, half an hour earlier in Belize, which is we will gain 1 hour and we split the hour half an hour earlier for Belize and half an hour later here in the United States, Western Pacific area.
Yes, sir. Kind of freeze up or something there. We are frozen. Show has been frozen.
Uh, yeah, look like something happened just now with the transmission, no? So I would like to apologize for that. We're back, Mr. Wheeler. Are you hearing us, sir?
Yes, here.
Okay, thank you very much. And what we want to do is just follow the same format as we always do, except for the change of time. We will keep repeating that a few times over and over that we are changing the time so people can get a clear understanding and a sense of our time sequence as compared to before. Again, like I said, my name is Leonard Brackett. I'll be your temporary chairman, and we have on board tonight Mr. Roody, who is the chairman for the Wednesday night program. And I'll do a short prayer for which I'll turn it over to him, to Mr. Wade, for him to do a scripture reading for us as part of our regular programming. I'll just bow my head and proceed with a short prayer. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would hearken unto our supplication, that thou must grant us health, courage, strength, perseverance, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we may be able to impart the input that we bring to this program, and that our effort may bear some fruits in terms of providing some positive public benefit for our Belizean people at home and abroad and others who listen to us around the world. We thank you for thy multiple blessings towards us and thy mercies. We pray that thou must continue to bless our family members, friends and loved ones, wherever they are. Thou knowest all of us by name and number. Thou knowest our hearts, our desires, and even our most secret thoughts. We pray that thou must bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. Thou would bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well. And that thou would continue to bless the rest of humanity and continue to have mercy upon us and give us reprieve from these various wars and rumors of wars and volcano eruption and tornadoes and uh, flooding and fire and all manner of pestilence and devastation. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Mr. Wade, I yield to you, sir. Mr. Wade, I yield.
Not hearing you too good. Okay, okay, Leonard. All right. Okay, Leonard. My people, both at home and abroad, welcome to our Belizean Affairs Show number 266 on a blessed Monday, March 10th, 2025. As always, uh, the temporary chairman had said that the time changed for our program. Um, so instead of listening to us here at 8, it'll be 7:30 in Belize. Uh, Thank you for that warm prayer there, Leonard. I'll do a reading from
Thank you very much, sir.
Peter. Peter, 1 Peter chapter 4, 5 to 15. It reads, "But they will give account to him who is ready to judge the living and the dead. For this is why the gospel was preached, even to those who are dead, that thou judged in the flesh the way people are, they might live in the spirit the way God does. The end of all things is at hand. Therefore, be self controlled and sober minded for the sake of your prayers. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers all multitude of sin. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever speaks as one who speaks oracles of God, whoever serves as one who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that in everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory and dominion forever and ever.
Amen.
Amen. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice insofar as you share Christ's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed.
Amen.
If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or a thief, or an evildoer, or as a meddler. Yet, if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but
Amen.
let him glorify God in that name.
Amen.
That's my reading from
Yeah.
First Peter chapter 4, 1 to 15. Mr. Chairman,
Thank you very much, Mr. Red, for such a wonderful reading, sir. And just taking another second here, I'll be continuing the process in a minute. Okay, couple more.
there's a lot
That's it.
going on in our country as we are in election mode. Leonard,
Yes, sir.
um, the priority of the country is set on hold. The priority of looking after the people and doing the people's work is put on hold. The priority right now in this country is for the People's United Party, the ruling party right now, that was in government. Um, they're out there looking to garner support again for another illegal election to be held. Um, in this country, um, you see a lot of activities when election time is around. activities. You see some government institution that you have never heard about or seen in your neighborhood, right? See some government activities that you have never seen until near an election. And again, as always, after election, they go dormant. And then they boast on all the good things that they have done for you. And then you suffers for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Repetitious cycle. I say this before I pass it back over. I wish my people, your eyes open and you send them a clear message this time that you have had enough. Enough, enough. Take their little goodies as usual, their little $50, their little $100 as usual. But at this time, the way this country is right now, I think the right thing to do is to send them a message, right? That you have had enough, taken advantage enough, looked down enough, you know, treated unfairly enough, and send that clear message. And like I always say, a vote are sacred. The only ones that try to not be sacred is to the ones that goes in and take the little picture, to say that to show them that you have voted and so that they could pay you. Because these people want to see evidence, right? You know, I call on you know to stop doing these kinds of things, because when you do these things, other people suffers based on your actions. So vote wisely, um, vote your conscience, and vote your conscience so that you know for sure you will not be mad with yourself the day after. So when you vote your conscience, make sure that that's the person you want to vote for, and then you got to deal with it for the next 5 years. But don't vote today and then tomorrow you say, I should not me. That little word, I should not me, it's already happened. It already happened. You just got to deal with it. So I just say that, vote your conscience on this March 12th election. Although it's going to be an illegal election, but that's the way the system is set up and that's the way they want it until otherwise is done. But for now, it is what it is. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. I'll be continuing some of what we started last Friday because we didn't finish up last Friday. So, since the chairman for tonight is not available, I thought that I'll take the opportunity to pursue some more of the same material that we were covering on Friday and see how far we can get with it today. Uh, the following commentary was made by Leonard Brackett as an overview to questions from Mr. Gregory Brackett, who is the chairman for tonight, or chairman. I don't see him yet in the background, so I'm not sure what's going on. He's probably working on something else. And if not, then we will take the liberty of filling in for him. Uh, Question from Mr. Gregory Brackett on statutory instruments versus or against or contrary or in exchange of the Constitution of Belize Act and intended amendments and alterations thereof. That is, that in other words, why this question came up is that we were debating and discussing some matters relating to the Constitution and the bastardization of our Constitution by government officials such as prime ministers, other ministers, police commissioners, and other government officials who are charged with the responsibility to see to it that the Constitution is being attended to faithfully with no favor or fear. The bottom line is that we had at that time quite a few violations of our constitution, egregious violation of that. It was just an oversight and a mistake, but they're actually deliberate attempt at non-compliance to our constitution. Uh, the fact is that our constitution, under Part 1, Section 2, Subsection 1, stipulates that the Constitution is the supreme law of Belize. And if any other law, I always like to emphasize that word other. It makes me sound like I'm trying to pretend to be some English professor or something like that, but that's not my intent. My intent is basically just to place an emphasis on the particular term with the idea of trying to let people have that particular word sink into our consciousness, because it makes a difference as to whether or not we have an ability to recognize when these people are bamboozling us and when they go to the house and make other substantive laws which they are authorized to make, but when those other laws are made outside of our constitution and or are violative of our constitution. Therefore, it's only when we review these things, try to understand these things, pay attention, be curious enough to want to know about these things, it's then when we are able to know that we are being had by these jackals and hyenas, that we are being bastard, that our constitution is being bastardized, and that we are being bamboozled. Because otherwise, we'll just continue rolling down the hill the way we've been going for the last 40 odd years of independence, where we elect people who we believe are trustworthy enough for us to put them in charge of our governance, and they get into office vested with the power to govern us, and they govern us like modern slaves. And then we have not much to do in terms of getting redress, because even when we go to well, the police does not arrest any of the ministers and or any of the bigwigs them. The DPP does not prosecute any of them. The courts, when other private individuals such as yourself, Mr. Wade, and others try to take up a defense for our constitution and our rights, we have these scofflaw individuals at the highest level of our government paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars to top-notch lawyers to defend the indefensible and or to stop you from having a court pronounce on their violation that they're supposed to go and remedy those violations. Those top lawyers then turn around and instead of dealing with the substantive matter before the court, they have and pull the court and play power players and turn around and get the court to focus on side deals, issues that have nothing to do with the original case that you guys bring to them, and then rule that your case is not worthy of a proper hearing, therefore they dismiss the case on technicality and leave the government to continue the bastardization of our constitution and the violation of the very laws that the government acknowledges that they're in violation of. I don't understand how anybody would come and rule in our justice system and allow that kind of bastardization to happen, because it never used to happen before. This issue of the bastardization of the Constitution is mostly a more recent occurrence, where we hire these judges from abroad who work on the systems that are supposed to be comparable to us or ours, but that in, for example, one of the instances that I'm particularly wanting to probably make mention of, but maybe I might not, is that this one particular judge was brought from another Commonwealth country where they have their own elected president, and the authority of law is vested in that head of state, and they are not a constitutional country. They are an authoritarian country. And these judges now come to our country and want to rule in that same fashion, when we are a country of law. Our constitution is the supreme law of the land. We live in a constitutional supremacy country, such as Belize. We don't live in a legislative supremacy. I'll back off a little bit because I'm running ahead of the program. Thank you, Mr. Wade, for bearing with me, and I'd just like to read a little bit more of what the article that I was uh, presenting is stipulating. Okay. The title of the article is The Constitution of Belize Bastardization. That is, open bracket, challenging Pandora's box, close bracket, as a question, emphatic statement. I said at the time the article was written, and this was way back, quite a while now. I mean, let me go back and find the date so people can, since I made reference to it. The date of this article. This article was written before this particular date, but the date of when this was rewritten and reissued in Facebook was the 20th of October of 2021. So you can see it's like 4 years plus now. And let me see if I can get back to the point that I was on when I diverted a little bit. Okay, there we go. So after reading out the article title, which is The Constitution of Belize Bastardization, and referring to it as challenging of Pandora's box, I went on to say, Belize at 40, at the time when this article was being written, at 40 years of independence, Prime Minister Mr. John Briceño, Prime Minister Mr. John Briceño's wet dream is a constitution of Belize revamping. That is that at the time he was contemplating the idea of sending out some organized group to go and make inquiry of the people of the country as to whether or not they like the constitution the way it is, and or if they wanted to have amendments to their constitution, and or what part they would like to amend. That is that they came into office not having predisposed the public or warned the public or advised the public as to what their agenda was in regards to constitutional matters. They gave us a blue plan, well detailed and defined. They referred to it from before they got elected, after they got elected, all through the period of time that they were elected, and are still referring to it to their date after they have been, after they have given up the House of Representatives, and they don't have that legislative capacity anymore. So for all intents and purposes, they did not get to complete that exercise that they tried to foster on us a few years ago till now. So probably they might come back with it again if they get to win the next election. Or, since we have already been forewarned that they were attempting to do that, I don't think that they're probably going to put it in this manifesto either, as they didn't do in the previous manifesto. They will take it for granted and say, okay, well, since we all know that they were trying to eviscerate the Constitution, basically, make changes to it far beyond what they are currently empowered to do. And why I brought up this point about being empowered to do is that currently, or well, we are in the process of an election, so I shouldn't say currently, the House is dissolved. But under normal circumstances, all during the period of time that the House was in, uh, the House was had not been prorogued or had not been dissolved, they were authorized to make just about any law that they wanted, so long as those laws that they make would fall within the bounds of the Constitution. But instead, they went ahead and made a bunch of laws that did not comport to the prescripts of the Constitution, that did not comport to what the Constitution requires and demands of them. They made some bogus laws, and they went on to use those bogus laws to cause harm to the general populace and to some people in particular. When in fact, as a government, you're not supposed to make laws for just a small portion of the population or for just some individuals. When a government make law, that law is supposed to be for any and everyone under the jurisdiction of that government, which is why they are required to follow the Constitution. But as I point out here in the article, let me just go ahead and read it because I think I'm jumping ahead. I'm trying to get a little emotional about it because it's an egregious shortcoming, and it's not because they don't know better. They just deliberately violate our Constitution because they're not held to account. And at the end of the day, they hold the purse of the country and they can hire a lawyer to fight anyone that tries to get them to comply with the Constitution because they have no respect, regards, or consideration for the Constitution or for the laws that are made by the people. A CRC, and with the intention to reform the Constitution of Belize into a more pliable document so as to aggregate the government of Belize some more additional powers which are currently vested in the Belizean head of state and in the people of Belize, to which they are not able to
Freezing up there, Leonard, some technical difficulties. Sad to see, what's really going on in the country. You know, we have some technical difficulties on the other side of the broadcast. But, you know, um, Wednesday, it's election day. Um, and the things that really, get me, right, is that, nobody want to obey the laws in this country, right? Um, gotta say, if the boss now obey the law, why should the little one, the little man obey if the boss doesn't obey? Um, I've sat in a meeting with the election and boundaries, and not the first time. I sat in several meetings, um, with them. They point out the do's and the don'ts as per the laws, the election and boundaries laws, what the candidates or the parties should and shouldn't do. You know, not too long ago, I pointed out just a simple, you know, a simple law that constantly been broken or disobeyed or not following through. And nobody seems to care. Like, for instance, it says that you should be 100 yards away from the polling station, right? But, you know, anybody who knows that, you know, 20 yards is not 100 yards or 5 yards is not 100 yards, right? You see the two mass party, they want to, they're right in front of the gate, right? And then, like with me last week, I was called there to witness and say, what area you want to set up your tent. And then here you have the PUP and the UDP, the fight for different side of the, you know, one want it on this side, the next one want it on the other, and a habitual practice, right? So all I asked the person that was overseeing that in that area, that election and boundary official. I say, you are the boss. You come here to make sure that the election laws are upheld, right? So why don't you, as the person that should make sure that the things happen the right way, tell them, get a tape, measure 100 yards, and see who want to be at that 100 yards on that way, and measure 100 yards the other way. And you know what he told me? He says they say that they have tradition, right? They have tradition. PUP set up here, UDP set up there, right? So I said, where you want to go, Mr. Wade? I say, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this shenanigan. I don't want to be a part of this back and forth thing. You guys could have the whole era if you want to. I could care less, right? Because you're fighting a losing battle, right? And then yet in my meeting that I held, that I was in and with election and boundary, oh, they want evidence. Produce evidence, right? I said, evidence is being produced from the time immemorial, but nobody had heard to it. Nobody want to address it, right? Buying of votes, right there. You still in it, pass money right there, passing money, right? Buying of votes. So all I'm trying to tell the person in charge of that the area, right? Election and boundary official, hey man, make sure that these laws are being obeyed. But here you come with them no tradition. So why do you have laws? Why? So that's my thing, this it's sickening, very sickening to see that you go there with a clean heart, want to do the right thing so that people could have free and fair without hindrance. But yet you have these two political party, the PUP and UDP, they just bamboozle the process and nobody seems to care about it, right? Repetitious cycle. So they waste one time, they waste my time, calling me out there to show me the same crap over and over, calling me to meetings with the same crap over and over you're gonna hear, and none of them adhered to the rules, right? So, Alan, you could remember that many occasions we call on these people who come and observe, free observers from other part of the world, outside of Belize, come and observe free and fair election. We have said it through this medium, not now, past, that our election is not free and fair. Not. So lately I've been saying that, you come to observe an election, that is not free and fair, what do you do? Right? I think you have the power to tell whoever are the officials on election day that your election is not free and fair and should be null and void, the same way they did to Venezuela. They denounced Venezuela because their election was not free and fair. So I call on them now, Leonard. They're here in the country again to observe free and fair election. So I'm saying again, our election is not free and fair in Belize. So the same way you did to Venezuela, I would like you to do the same thing and do not recognize the election held in this country. Do not recognize it. What is so hard for you observers to do if you could have done it for the election in Venezuela, which is a country people are entitled, and the same way you come here and you observe, people are entitled, yes, but you could have pronounced Venezuela election null and void. We will never acknowledge it. So the same way, I would like for you guys, you all observers from wherever you come from, but you are here already. Please do the due diligence. Due diligence. Do not recognize the election that's going to be held on March 12th. That's all I got to say on that. Because it's not free and fair. If you get a hold of our Constitution, if you get a hold of our Constitution of this country, you will know that it's not free and fair now 2025. And the malapportionment, right there, plain, visible, right in front of your face. So please, you officials coming in this country, don't let them buy you out and go with another different thing on pen and paper. No, put pen and paper what you see, what you observe. That's all I ask you to do. Up to you, Leonard.
No,
You wanted to say something? Go ahead.
no. Go ahead, Mr. Wade. I was just clapping in terms
You
of
know,
agreeing with what you were
it's
saying.
depressing when they preach one thing and they go on doing other things, right? And who dare tell them that it's not so? Do they care? Um, how do they take us, the people, the voters? Do they respect us? I'm talking the two-mass party, right? That encourage these kinds of things for their own political agenda, for their own power, for their own gain. Disenfranchise other people for your own gain. And then you think that it's okay, right? That it's all okay for what you do. There are some of us who says that it's not okay, like myself, right? I speak on things that I see wrong, right? But who am I? So I encourage all Belizeans to stand up for the injustice, for the illegalities, for the things they do to you, how they bamboozle you, right? And some of you know that this two-party system is corrupted to the core, but yet you out there like, that they have done no wrong. And they're all criminals, evildoers, right? And they corral you for that day, like they corral cattle, like they're taken across to Guatemala or Mexico. They corral you, right? And they give you some little feed to push through that day, right? Just to serve their needs That's to go through their agenda for that day. And I know they talk like only 2025, and they talk like 40 years. Now that's what they've been doing to you. Corral you like animals, use you, and let you go in the pasture after they don't use you. Right? Sometimes the pasture, they let you go, no have no grass. So what will happen? You start dying out. Not literally, but I'm just trying to bring awareness. This thing got to stop. Right? Got to stop. Because when you out there to jump up with these criminals, like in a red shirt or a blue shirt, with these criminals, right? You're doing this country and yourself an injustice. Injustice. Why don't you just left Briseño and his minion and his family to jump up in their blue shirt? Why you have to go there, jump up along with him, knowing that is wrong? But you still out there to jump up. Right? They corral people for all in the nicks and cleanings with only $30 load up in a bus and go march them, parade them to show that, oh yeah, they have the support. Right? These things got to stop, man. Stop encouraging these the UP system and the UDP system. Right? Let them come with some meaningful things to you, man. You vote them in. I don't care who you vote for, because that's your God-given right. Right? But make sure that the person you vote for at the end of the day accomplish, produce, show you. See, this is what you vote for me for. Sit here. Have any one of them done that to you? None of them. But yet, keep doing the same thing over and over, right? And that's what got our country the way it is right now. Mind you, they are fanatics. You cannot tell them that PUP do nothing wrong. They're fanatics. You cannot tell them UDP, except for now, a lot of them disgruntled because they don't know who is UDP now. Because apparently you have two UDP. I don't know how that will fare out in the end. I don't know. Right? But there's change on that ballot come March 12th. The change will be right there in front of your face. You have the Belizean Justice Movement, and you have independent candidates. Candidates with an S. You have the Belizean Justice Movement. 7 of us on that ballot. And independent candidates. We could have a coalition government. You don't have to have a PUP government anymore as of 12th this March. You don't have to have a UDP government anymore because you know darn well what's going to happen. You know exactly nothing will change these people. Nothing. But a coalition government of independent candidates, and it's there right in your constituencies, right there. Why are you so afraid to try an independent candidate? Right? The same way you give the PUP a chance, and you see the criminality, you see the corruption, you live it. The same way you give a UDP a chance, you see the corruption. Some of them hide the money in their sacks. Some of them are invisible. You know, the way they treat you, right? You give them that chance. So why can't you give an independent or a third party or a movement your vote? You never know. A lot of you so wrong to say, well, what we will do for you. Give us a chance the same way you give the two-party system a chance. Give us the chance. You don't know what we will do. So you're so wrong. Give us a chance first. Then you could say what we did or what we didn't do. Right? So you're so wrong. So I think you deserve whatever you get. In the end of that's no mal thinking or mal intention and just saying, keep you vote for the PUP again, you'll get what you vote for. Right? You vote for UDP. They were here before. Were your life better? PUP, your life better? Try them again. Back to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much, sir. That's a great presentation in regards to the current status in our electioneering season. Uh, I just want to read a little bit more of this stuff here. I'm not going to read very much of it because it becomes a little monotonous after a while, you know. And we don't want to make the show drag on and people get disinterested. But we do need to impart the information. People need to be able to react to the information because, especially as regards to the present situation, only the people could vote to make a difference. The politicians, they can't vote for themselves, nor can we who are trying to inform you about these things vote for you. You have the power in your hands to vote for whoever you want and to make that difference. This is the time when you need to step up to the plate and stop selling your birthright for a plate of food and a couple beer and $50. We have had 40 odd years of that kind of craziness. It's about time that people get out of that state of mind. But of course, the right is yours to vote and to vote for who you want. So if you choose to vote for the people that are going to give you another dose of the same medicine, then you're going to have to just continue suffering in silence because that medicine didn't solve your problem before, and very likely it will not solve your problem now or anytime in the future because all those politicians are interested in to get elected, get together in a cabinet, conspire against you, the people of the country. Um, I have a call here that's trying to get in, and I won't be able to. Mr. Wade, could you just go ahead, sir, please?
Thank you. You know, I listen to some
Um,
media houses. Oh well, you know, one third party can't do nothing. They don't set in at that blasphemic way, right? That third party can, Mr. Man, and this goes for you, Jules.
Bill?
Mexico has a coalition government, right? You see what they do with the two all mass party? What they did with it? Crush it and throw it away. Mexico have a coalition government. Salvador, countries around the world have coalition government. They get rid of that two-party system that they had, right? So those of you in the media will always say, what can a third party do? And nobody will vote for no third party and this and that. Bull crap. Do your homework, right? Just do your homework before you utter such a outrageous venom, right? Now, check around the world and see a coalition government and how it's all about, you know, inclusiveness. It's all about holding people accountable, right? No one party have the say, no the other party. No, it's a coalition. So when in the top, but no one pass UNCAC for the other coalition government, they say no, the other side say no, we gotta pass UNCAC, right? So no say that a third party can't win my election or no, I tell you, a coalition government. Get rid of the damn UDP and PUP and form a coalition government. See if you don't have a better country, right? So you all are spreading that venom to exercising that, you know, through your publicity, right? Kind of like playing with people's minds with a third party or an independent candidate. That's the scenario, right? We don't need to stop that and tell the people the truth. Do your homework. Check other countries and see if they only have that two-party system in running their country as government. Check that. It's around the world, Mr. News people. Goes for you instead of spreading that venom, right? So like I say, if the change, Leonard, this election is very crucial. The change is going to be right on the ballot. It's right in front of their eyes. All you need is 16. We have more than 16 independent and third party and movement. More than 16. So no make Jules and all of the other ones, them, they full air the atmosphere with that venom, right? Or the politicians, them from the both side, come and full the air with that venom. It's not true. Why they saying this? They just want to see that PUP UDP, PUP UDP, because they all benefit. They all benefit. Not the people though, but the media houses and certain element of society benefit from a PUP when they are in power, and they benefit from it. So, which one of them want to see that one of them go? None of them. So I expect that from you guys, but not the truth. It's not the truth you're telling. Back to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. I'd like to add a little piece to that too, and that is that in the instance where we have 40 odd years of independence currently, anyone would have thought that by now our political environment would have been a bit more mature. But instead of getting mature, we're just getting older. But older and maturity are not one and the same thing. Maturity has to do with how you use those years with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in order to maximize good outcomes. Had that been the case in our country, I would probably not be here making the statement I'm making right now, because we'd have had those good outcomes. The politicians are handsomely being paid to run the country and to make a success of the country. But they take that payment and they move on and do other things with the time that they are being paid for, such as hustle for themselves, their family, and other cronies and foreigners who give them at least something on the side. They don't have any time to spend focusing on good management or good managerial practices, even though the Constitution requires it of them, even though they swore an oath to do that. As soon as they get assented to the right of governance, they move on and they pretend like, well, they bought the elections, they paid the. Uh,
And I tell you,
go ahead, Mr. Wade,
you know,
please.
I tell you, the mindset of the Belizean people are so are so set are so set in a PUP and a UDP. Well, I'll tell you this right now. In my area, like I will contest the Kayo Central area, I know I could do a hell of a better job than the the past area representative and the UDP guy that's vying for this represent this area, right? First of all, you talk about leadership. I have leadership, right?
I'm muted on my program right now,
I
but
am a patriotic Belizean,
I made a
and
mistake
for
because
sure, I
I'm
know
talking with you and forget
that
that I have the earpiece
I
on,
could represent.
and the earpiece is causing me some
I
discomfort.
can represent better
Let's
than
start the show, no?
that representative.
You're trying to talk,
The outgoing guy is no
you
more.
know,
He got to
whatever, let me
gather your votes again,
have a think over it.
right? And the UDP guy, I could do a better job, right?
Yeah, take care. God bless. Bye.
And I will say this: I would never, I would never criticize a disabled, right? I would never do that. I would never spit in anyone's face. That's the worst thing you could do to someone. The outgoing era rep did that. Spit in a UDP face, right in the face. And he's still alive, coming back for your vote again, right? I would never do such a thing. I would never be a mockery of a man that's stuttered or have uh, 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 empowerment, right? He does that. He had made a mockery of a news anchor guy, right? The way he stuttered, and he think that, and that's a leader. He call and he call himself a leader, right? Who does that? Sick? What kind of a sick individual would even make a mockery out of a person that is impaired, right? Or spit in someone's face? Huh? What kind of a leader does that? And he have the heart and the guts to come back and ask you all for your vote again. Huh? Wow, I would never do such a thing. And like I say, I know 110% I will do a better job than that guy. Better, I will serve you better. Right? So everything is gonna be on the ballot there. Come March 12th, it's gonna be right there. The change will be right there in front of your very eyes. And I tell you what, you miss this chance now, you could safely say that you're gonna get worse than what you had for the past 5 years. It's gonna be worse. And not forget, they want to take you into a republic. You know, tell people that. But I say it here and I say it on several occasions. First of all, what they do, they tamper with the constitution. They can't maneuver for the republic thing if they not tamper with the constitution. So that's what they're doing. They're tampering with the constitution to take Belize into a republic. That's what the People's United Party is trying to do to you, right? Or do to this country. And please, don't forget the ICJ, okay? Please, don't forget that. Still there. Back to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saweet. Again, my commentary is that, as you said, in the case of Mr. Ballona, for him to laureate himself to that level shows the level of deviousness, the level. I wouldn't even go to the point of calling it evil, man, because to do something like that, to try and spit into somebody else's face, is inviting a response. And that kind of response that he should have deserved to get is nothing that his family would have been happy about. He just happened to spit on the wrong person. Fortunately, I wouldn't even call it unfortunately. I would say fortunately for him.
Yeah.
Because if he carry on that kind of messed up mindset
Not going to
for
end
too
well.
long, for too long or long enough, now I can talk the way I'm talking because I lived 7 long years in Guatemala among the Guatemalans them. And somehow he have the impression that he can bring that kind of mindset and behavior to Belize. And that he is some kind of superhero, that he's an exception to the rule. In fact, let me not even go there. Let me back off a little bit. Because it's a much bigger issue than what meets the eye. And I don't need to talawala in the mud, to make a pig of myself in order to show that I can be their equal. I lived 7 years in Guatemala. I lived 2 years in Honduras, 9 months in El Salvador, and I traveled up and down almost all the districts or the states of Mexico. So I'm fairly familiar with acculturation of different types of communities throughout this hemisphere, at least specifically as regards to the ones that I enumerated. People don't take kindly to that kind of nonsense. Had he done that in Guatemala, his head would have been on the ground, if not a few bullets in his body, without any response, without any speaking. He just happened to have been lucky. And I hope he doesn't dare to be doing that and thinking that every time he will be getting away, because he will make the mistake of becoming so used to doing that that unfortunately for his family, they will have to do without him. Because he thinks it's funny when he does that. As a matter of fact, to make matters worse, because he was a previously elected member of parliament, at the time when he did that act, the tape shows that one of the prime minister's main political operatives was right there by his side. And in addition to that, there were police officers with stripes accompanying him. Why wasn't he arrested for assaulting somebody? But they constitute the present government, and by some imaginary state of mind, they believe that they're above the law and they're untouchable. I hope that gentleman doesn't continue that type of behavior anymore in Belize, because our society is becoming a lot more violent than it used to be before. And all these deportees who are being sent back to El Salvador right now, many of them are ending up in Belize. Okay? Our border is porous. And these people don't want to go to El Salvador to be brutalized by their president, Mr. Bukele, which is what's happening over there. They would much rather go to Guatemala and jump our borders, come into our country, where we have our people as a docile society. Okay? We don't have a police force capable of handling that type of situation. We don't have a defense force capable of handling the kind of murderation rate that these people are used to in their country of El Salvador. I'm saying this to say our government need to step up to the plate, because these people will be shipped out of this United States and they will have to end up somewhere. Mexico will not keep them all, and even if they stay in Mexico, they will just add to the gang warfare that's going on there, because they are already predisposed to the type of lifestyle that they were used to as members of the MS-13. So, as I said, our government needs to step to the plate, raise its alert level, and deal with what they need to deal with in terms of the protection and well-being of the general population. Like, if we think we had gangs in Belize, I think I mentioned this quite a few times before. Wait until these people get into our country, and we will get to understand what gang and gang warfare is about. I pointed out a few months ago that Belize, at the rate it was heading in that bad direction because of the brutality of the police and the way they were behaving, we were heading towards becoming like a young Haiti. And we apparently are going there a lot faster than I was suspecting, especially under this adverse situation because of the present situation that we have in the United States as regards to immigration issues. So Belize and Belizeans, a lot of those people are going to be heading back to Belize. A lot of our own people are going to be heading back to Belize. And I can tell you, as I'm saying right here now, they will be held to pay by the innocent people. I don't mind hell being paid by the criminals and the gangs them that want to shoot up and kill up each other. They could eliminate themselves. And if that's a part of the solution, then maybe that's better for the society. But it's not the gang members that are going to suffer alone. A lot of innocent victims, parents, families, children, innocent children, and many other members of the society at large. When these people start shooting at each other, they don't care if they miss the person that they want to hit and hit somebody else. They don't have that kind of mindset, morals, ethics, or predisposition to care about casualties, or what you'd call casualties of their behavior. In fact, they don't care even about themselves, which is why they live that lifestyle. But our peaceful country of Belize It's not used to that. And the more of these people we have into the country, the wilder the situation going to become. Because as a country, first and foremost, we're at 68% poverty already. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough commerce. And the government is digging harder and harder to get additional taxes and revenue out of our microeconomy. So, all I could say is good luck. I always pray for my country. I always pray for myself, for my family and my friends. But prayer alone is not what's going to solve our problem. God give us one good head, two good arms, two good legs, two ears, two eyes. You know, He gave us everything that we need to be able to make use of and do the best we can with our lives. But when we get slothful and we start pretending that, okay, God, I'm going to live a life for us so we don't have to worry about what we need to do or how we need to do, that things can just work out, is when we get ourselves in trouble because we don't do our part of the work. And it's regrettable. I'm saying what I'm saying right now, and what I'm saying or talking about is already manifested itself. It's not like I'm giving news. It's not like I'm hoping that what I'm saying would come to fruition. I'm just pointing out the obvious. But the part of the problem about the obvious is that we're not doing what we need to do or could do for our own selves. And nobody gonna live nobody else's life for them. So Belizeans at home and abroad, wake up, step to the plate, do the best you can, make the best of your life, but don't expect no miracles to fall out of heaven or out of the sky. You handle your prerogative and your situation for yourself. You guys are heading to the voting poll tomorrow. Think seriously about what you're doing with your vote. That's going to affect you, whether you like so or not, positively or negatively, for the next 5 years. Mr. Wade, I'll leave you back to you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Leonard, my people, you know, I watch the mindset of our Belizean people. You know, um, I watch the daily occurrence of crime and violence. People are being killed, murdered on a daily basis, sometimes three at a time, two at a time. You watch U.S. citizens been died in this country. I'm not going to say they were murdered or what I because I do not know the circumstances, but I think that it's high noon that we have some outside entity on all fronts, come and do a proper investigation of their citizens, that died in this country, right? And it's happening a lot. Um, you you see the crimes that have been committed and what's going around in the news. The cartels, Belizean been murdered in Chetumal, over in Mexico there, with messages sent on their body. Um, you see the the perception been putting out there that there are big people involved, the police involved. Um, you hear all these kinds of things, and it's not the first time. It's not the first time. Um, I expect at some moment soon that we will know who these people are in some way, fashion, or way. We will know who these people are that is directly involved with drugs and the cartel and landing planes and all that and handling drugs and money and all that. It will come to light soon because that's where it's heading right now based on what's going on in the country. And some of us might be shocked to know who these people are, right? They say, wow, I never knew. huh? But it's going to happen, right? And I wonder, where will they implement the next state of emergency? I want to know if it's going to be Southside Belize City again in the black little neighborhood. There's one reason why they haven't done that, Leonard, again, an illegal state of emergency, because election is Wednesday, right? That's the only reason. And I am 98.9% sure that right after the election, they will have another illegal state of emergency. And like I say, I wonder where they're going to declare a state of emergency in this country. I have my theory, but I will not say, right? That's to show you the level of crime and violence in this country. But is that priority? No, election is priority right now. Johnny Britannia want and the PUP want another win, so they could care less how much drugs they come, how much people they die, what, and they could care less. How much play in the land, when they fine, when they not fine. There are election drunk right now. Election drunk. So sad. But time will tell. Go ahead, Leonard.
Thank you very much. Um, as regards to this same point I was speaking about just now, about the SOEs, how come we haven't had any SOEs where those planes are landing? And that is that they have been landing in the same areas repeatedly, over and over and over. And no SOE or no dispatch of service personnel in those areas to try and corral the area and get control of those areas within our own boundaries. I bet you some plane are landing in Southside Belize. Right now, we would have been having an SOE in Belize City again. And I'm tempted to believe that unless some planes start land at Belize City, they will always continue to do the SOEs then because they're not interested in the drugs. At least it seems like they're not. Otherwise, they'll be putting the SOEs, even though bogus at that, where the probability is that they could be more effective. And that once they put the SOEs there and they capture the people that are running the drugs, then maybe less drugs going to start run, or maybe more drugs going to start run. Because these people operate on a basis of percentage success. Okay? When one plane catch fire and don't land properly and the material get burned up or whatever, they don't mind because that one plane is just one out of many others that have landed and taken off without any problems and delivered their materials or supplies. So, where are the SOEs that are duly deserved to be put in place? Instead, they violate the Constitution as I initially started out the program talking about. They create these bogus SOEs and victimize people whom they claim will not have any need for a visa, so therefore they don't mind letting them end up with a police record because they're not going to go anywhere anyhow. They don't need a passport, as per the Prime Minister. That's his own words. They don't need no passport because they're not going nowhere. Why don't they give them the passport or stop causing the people them harm? Give them a passport and make them go wherever they need to go because his agenda is to get them out of there anyhow. Or if they stay there, then he's going to keep them suppressed and oppressed. Because he has no respect for black people in general. let me just turn it back over, Mr. Wade, because there are other things coming down the pipe that's going to come into effect just after this general election is finished, and I don't want to be starting to preempt them from now. I yield back, sir.
Yes. So this is, what's going on in this little Belize right now. The priority is not about, the ills in the country right now. The priority is for them to get over this power drunk that they have, um, get over the election, because that is more important to them than the crime and violence. Um, the priority of making people lives better, that's not their priority. Um, it's so sad how the country just went like on pause. When you put the pause button, that's what going on in the country right now in terms of the country being run effectively. Um, People are at the mercy of the world right now. They're at their own accord, right? And the little things is what they're dealing with right now. The little crime, little small violations and stuff. That's what they're focusing right now. But the bigger crime and the other criminal, the bigger criminal element in this country is not priority right now. Um, which the country has a lot of ills. Um, Not even the news, Leonard. They bring they highlight these things that is happening in the country, right? You get to find out, on other through social media. There's now thanks to social media, Leonard, right? So that the country is being sensitized with some of these behind the scene crime, right? Behind the scene. That's what I'm trying to say. Behind the scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to highlight that because they don't want to get the government much and give them something to distract them from their electioneering, right? Everything went on pause. All the fighting with the land acquisitions. Hear nothing more about the hospital that they what they paid for that hospital that was supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that the one at Atlanta already got his. How
It's
much it
election
was, Leonard?
finance.
1 point something billion. How much it
You,
was?
Mr. Wade, you call it modern election financing.
Modern election. There you go. There you go. So you see how that money thing happened right away before election. So there was liquid cash
Cash,
to
yep.
to to, to sponsor, right? But the actual cause in terms, did they ever break ground? I asked the
No.
people in Belmopan, do we ever see any activities in that area that's hospital supposed to build? Any activity that happen there,
Do you know
right?
that some of that money got spent already, Mr. Wade?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh
Some
yes.
of that money got spent already. But as
Oh,
regards to that piece of land, to that $7 million, it was bought by the Chinese people for less than $1 million. Far less than a million, probably about half a million, thereabout. But let's say they had paid $1 million and they got 100% profit off of that. It would have been about 2 million, right? Where did the other 5 million disappear to?
yeah. So
Or let's say they had given the man 3 million. Or let's say they gave him 4 million. They said they gave him 5 million. Where the other 2 million disappear to? You could tell me they couldn't put that in a pantry and give some people some food. I mean, I'm just trying to be cynical, right? When I say all the numbers there, right? To show the level of treachery and graft. I yield back, Mr. Wade.
sad, sad. So there we go. We highlighting some of these things that is happening, and you see the length and breadth they went to get these deals together, right? So that they could have gotten. cash money to play around with, but the actual cause is put on the back burner again. So now you'll hear him saying, maybe, well, I don't know how he didn't say, well, you know what? If you give me the mandate again, then I will build the hospital, just like how he say, give me the mandate again the next 5 years, and then I will maybe the next 2 years do redistricting, right? Maybe the next 2 years I will think about do redistricting, right? Just give me the mandate.
Mr. Weird.
So my
Didn't,
point is,
oh, sorry, sorry.
my point is, you see how all these things happen before election, and I tell you, the country gone pampas. Gone pampas. Hear about the polls both with people, and oh yeah, que viva Briseño, que viva PUP, que viva this one, que viva that one. And forget about everything will happen, Forget, right? So give him that mandate again, and then maybe, then the hospital will start to get bills. Start. Maybe they might go start to do some digging, right? As for me, that's all hogwash. He just wanted some money to give to his friend and crony so that they could have played with, just like other projects, right?
The last day at the house, the man asked for 200 million more. And then they also asked for defer 9 other loans when they're supposed to come up with the money for pay so that they will have the cash flow to spread around the country for electioneering purposes.
To do what? Electioneering, right? And if he wins again, right away he going and get more money. He gonna ask for more money. And Leonard, I visit, some retired servicemen, who badly in need of medical attention and help, right? Retirees who badly in need of help, right? Seniors who badly in need of help,
It's
right?
a weird. Some of them people they get on $150 a month. And the prime minister still can't afford to give the people them $150 a month for them survive offer. They won't rent. They need money for food. You know, they need money, like you said, for medicine.
Leonard,
And these
I
jackets can't afford the people them leave $150.
I want to share this with you,
Come
Mr.
on, man.
Briseño. I met one of your supporter, an old man. He support UP all the day. He's 80, 83 years or 84 years old. Just have a stroke, right? And you know what that person told me that's taking care of this elderly? He said, Mr. Wade, if this elderly only may get $20 a month, he said, it may feel good. You see where is $20 a month, he said, if this man even with or even he get one bag a grocery, right? It'll help him. So you see how low these people think, right? How low,
So,
right?
so, so then, Mr. Wade, I wasn't being too cynical then when I said earlier that if they could have given a man 2 million or 3 million or 4 million or 5 million and take the other 2 million and buy some pantry. Do you understand then what is it I was
Yes,
trying to refer to? Exactly what you're
yes.
commenting on
Mr.
right now
Man,
and validating.
Mr. Man, all in cloth where they decorate them lampposts. Your party, you and your minions, they decorate them posts, all in big bill we go to Mercados and all the other textile place on or they buy all these material to make man, you know,
Feed the people,
think
man.
about these people who really need. Before you do that, why don't you? And I think then people will vote for you right away.
They probably will
Instead
go
of
back and vote for
decorating
them right now
lampposts
again.
and dirty the country because all these things will be torn down and taken to the dump or burned, right? And then you have people here asking only for $20, Briseño. 20 said about say if the man only me the at least only $20, I may expect the man and send 200 Leonard at least only. But he say if the person only me get only $20 a month, he said I may still help. He said only bag of groceries, he said I may still help. Golly,
And Mr. Wade, those are
that
going to be the
really
same people that's
hurts
going to go
me.
back and vote for them again, sir.
You
Those
know,
same people who owe them their allegiance until they die.
it's so sad. It's so sad. You got the BDF retirees, all retirees, they have been treated so bad,
Mm.
right? Servicemen and women treated so bad, right?
They have lived a
Elderly
full lifetime.
treated so bad, forgotten. What kind of a government treats their elderly and their retirees in that manner, in that inhumane way? What what kind of a man does that? Just putting this out there because I need to get it out, right? And this I know somebody come from outer space and tell me this is what I see with my very eyes. I have the evidence. The election and boundary says when I got in, oh, Mr. Wade, you know, no evidence. You produce the evidence. So here you go again. I have the evidence, right? Come on, man. And yet you want them to jump up behind you, your them blue shirt and red shirt, because past government, does the same thing to treat our people so inhumane, right? What happened to all this social security money? Where are the money? Where is the money?
They let it out to special
Huh?
funds.
Mean you
So the
can't
funds they
take
could build
only
building and
hundred
rent it.
dollars out of that and give to the elderly? Regardless if they work with the government or employed anyway or what. Elderly Belizean is an elderly Belizean. If you could bastardize our natural resources for your own personal gain and no accountability, why can't you take some of the social security money, which is not your money, Brisenio, right? And pass a law, because if you could pass a law for $76 million in one stroke of the pen for Ashcraft, I don't see why you cannot say, well, the elderly get only $100 a month, man, until they pass on. Only 100, I know they say million or thousand, only 100. Huh?
But that
That's
name they come
so
out all
that,
in
that
one
that's
pocket,
so
Mr.
sad,
Wade.
Mr.
Mr.
Man.
Wade, the name they come out
Right,
all in one pocket. It's
right,
coming out of government treasury.
yes.
And the man they
That's
still
so
can't find the
sad.
heart or the mind to do it.
Right.
But they can find money out of the treasury to give him on by the millions.
What happened? What happened to all these retirees who retire and not live to reap their benefit? Like my brother, he died and never did. He just retired, right? But because the surviving kids that he had was already of age and no one to the law says, if they're over, they're not they cannot get the contribution that their father or mother left,
They
right?
take
It
that,
goes back to the state,
Mr.
right?
Wade,
And,
and take
not
that,
just one man. You
and
have
take that.
thousands of people who retire and even leave and go out of this country and left with all their money or died.
They take that extra money, Mr. Wade.
What wanna do with their money,
They give it to themselves as cost of
right?
living and raises in salary, extra perks.
The Courtney guy got with 3 point something million dollars. Him and Courtney father, right? 3 point something, and that just wipe off. Not 3 point something, 3 point something million, million, my people, million.
But the man
Did he
collected
pay that back? Hell no,
he collected millions of dollars
right?
while
So
being
why
while
can a
being
poor
senator.
elderly cannot get at least $100 a month, man? Why? Back to you, Mr. Chairman. Sad.
Uh, we're right there already, Mr.
Closing.
Wade.
For your
Uh,
closing. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir.
So sad.
The closing won't be too long. I'll just like to say thanks to all Belizeans at home and abroad for tuning in to our show tonight. Uh, we don't have any access directly to all the electioneering that's going on, so we won't be able to comment much on the election is until tomorrow. Everybody's preparing and getting themselves ready. Uh, Regardless of how it turns out, I just hope that most people turn out and vote, exercise their franchise, because there's a lot of people that would like to exercise their franchise, who have been dispossessed of that privilege or right, more a right than a privilege, by the way, because it's a constitutional right and endued by the Constitution, and they are unable to exercise that right because of the machinations of some government officials. And then you have some that are being allowed to not only vote once, but have the possibility of being able to vote twice. Because we have some people whom the judges had declared were not eligible to vote in certain divisions that they were trying to transfer into, and that they should go back and vote in their um, original jurisdiction. And the election and boundary, despite the court order, proceeds to bastardize the Constitution and to disobey the Constitution once again, in declaring that those people will remain on the list so that they can go and vote even though they are disqualified from voting in those areas. So they have the potential to vote in both places if they so choose. Just because these idiots decide to bastardize the Constitution and don't do what is right, they need to make up numbers. Everybody have an idea of what numbers or how many people are registered already in the areas. Everybody have an idea of who are their supporters or followers or, you know, people that they expect to vote for them. And so they put these extra people in the divisions. From one division to the next, they transfer them to make up the numbers that they need. That's another way of stealing an election. I just hope that tomorrow everything goes cool. Whoever is declared the winner, even though they may not have won, I'm being cynic again.
Yeah, true.
Because I'm telling you, those are the things that happen. I didn't say it just because I wanted to laugh or wanted to smile. I say it because it's laughable to recognize that that is the reality. When in fact, as I said, after 40 odd years of independence, we should have been a hell of a lot more further along this journey. But we've been getting worse and worse instead of better and better. Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. Thank you for tuning in to the Belizean Affairs Show number 266. God bless Belize and Belizeans. Mm. Wish you the best. Thank you again, Mr. Wade, for helping to produce a
Thank you.
wonderful,
Thanks.
very inciting program. And for those who have listened to us tonight, and those who will be listening to us tomorrow and other days as they have their time convenient to them, we pray for you guys and wish you the best. And let's hope we can get a better government than the one we had just before now. Good night. God bless. Bye bye.
Night.